Okay. So I wanted to remind you that we take a 2-week break coming up. That we're going to have a webinar Monday and webinar Wednesday, and then we're taking a break for a while. Back April 11th, the folks in Raleigh will start back up, making up for a snow date, and we'll start up that following Tuesday, whatever day that works out to be. I guess that'd be like the 14th. We'll be back in Charlotte doing labs. But we're going to take a little bit of a rain day, take a little break in the middle of this as we go through. So today we're going to continue CodeCombat, and we'll give everybody another minute or two to get here, and I want to get started in CodeCombat. You will find, if you haven't already started CodeCombat, has anybody gone through the whole second world yet? Put everybody's hands down. Has anybody gone through the second world yet? All the way through? Okay. You're going to find that the first one was pretty easy, frankly, especially for high school. It is much more challenging in this one. All right? So here we go. ThornBush Farms. I did put a correction on here. This one needs to be 4320 right here. It wasn't working before. You had to have it exactly there, or the knight would still see the enemy, would still see the enemy, and he would put out another fire trap and blow everybody out. So after working out a little bit, I made sure this move is right there and this is right. So make sure you have that. You'll get through that fire trap. Okay? So why don't you take a minute while I wait for these last few people. If you didn't get it to work before, that's the quick fix for this. Look at my code. If you have it working, go ahead and raise your hands. All right. Nicholas, I don't know if you can hear me. Either write us a question, Nicholas, or raise your hand so I know you're hearing me. All right, good. All right, good. So I put everybody's hands down again. Leave your hands up, Nicholas, in the future. I'll put them down. That way I know to look. If you would, has everybody then raise your hand if you've done this one, Patrol the Village, the fire trap one. Raise your hand again, guys. I know you did, Charlie and Nico. All right. I'm going to put everybody's hands down. Let's go on to the next. All right. Ogre Encampment. You know, when I did it, you can tell when I took the screenshot, I didn't have semicolon there. All right. And let me see. Charlie's got his hand up. I'm assuming he's done the Ogre Encampment. Has Nicholas or Nico, have you guys done the Ogre Encampment? It's okay if you haven't. We just about where we stopped. Okay. Let's talk about this just real quick. This is one we're starting to get our codings get a little more elaborate. This is summoner level back to back where you either attack or you move. In this however, you attack chest if enemy is not present, okay? So it's an if-then statement. So here we go. So if there's an enemy attack it. Otherwise, attack the chest. It's taking a variable, which sometimes they use a var, they define variable enemy as a var, that type of variable. Sometimes they don't. I think it's good to have it to define your variables. I think it's just get you to think about what you're trying to do. So var enemy equals this, find nearest enemy. If it's an enemy, that's the same thing as saying, hey, if it found one, if true, do this, else do that. In this case, attack the enemy or attack the chest. And that's what it does. All right. Nicholas, let me know when you've got that one completed. And in fact, let me give a couple ahead here. So that way, Charlie and Nico, and then I know we'll get some other people will drop in a little bit later. We'll go through these. All right. So here's Woodland Cleaver right there. And in this one, it's pretty cool. You wipe everything out. I'm going to put everybody's hands down. Has anybody done Woodland Cleaver? Okay, good. And Woodland Cleaver, I should say, it's a pretty cool spell, nothing else. When you do it, you're going to select 2 new objects to equip. This is ready, and then a sword that cleaves, as you can imagine. And so the object of levels use the new cleaving skill. Whenever possible, attack a large group of enemies. But that is one of those spells that needs time to recharge. You got to have a cooldown period of several seconds. So how do we check? We're going to set up an if-else statement so that something happens, the condition is true, and something else happens if that condition is false. Well, what's our condition? Well, if this is ready, cleave the enemy. Else, if it is cleave isn't ready, do your normal attack. So we do something like this. This cleave enemy, cleave is ready. This is ready, cleave. We're checking to see if it's ready, and if it says it's true, then cleave the enemy. Else, attack the enemy. And then we just drop the whole thing in a loop once we've got it working. And you can see the damage some other people's going on this. If you check top scores, you can look there. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and do the cleaver one. I'm taking the code off again. I'm going to see if you can go ahead and do it. Raise your hand. We'll give it, a few minutes to do it, and then we'll show the code back over. But it's really what I like about CodeCombat over, say, Code Academy is they make you do more stuff from scratch. It's okay to use the little help screens at the bottom, but go ahead and try it. All right? All right, Garen, I knew you would be joining us. Buddy, go ahead. We're at Woodland Cleaver. We're going to go ahead and do that one, okay? Reminder, we do not have any webinars. We're Monday and Wednesday, we're having our webinars this week, and then we're taking a break. All right, so Nico's got his done. Garen, I'm going to show it, and anybody else would like to look, since you just walked in here, Garen. Garen, have you done, real quick, Garen, have you done 8? Raise your hand if you've done 8. That was, or 9, Ogre Encampment. Have you done that one? All right, let me ask you this. Have you done, well, we were at, Ogre Encampment was the last one we were working on. And all that's doing is using a loop and then attacking the chest. It's finding the nearest enemy. If there's not a nearest enemy, attack it. So that's what this would do. Var enemy, it's a variable, assigns it. This find the nearest enemy. If enemy attack, this attack the enemy. If there's no enemy, attack the chest. So, all right. And I don't know if you can even do this, Garen, because I don't know if you're using an iPad or if you got a computer. You can go ahead and write me a question if you want. Let me know. I'm going to go ahead. I'll put up the PDFs for this too, for those people that are behind. So you got 2 new objects to equip. All right. Okay. Now, we're doing Woodland Cleaver, and just, you got here a little bit late, but just let me explain again. You get 2 things. One is a wristwatch that gives you an update of when things are ready, and then a long sword. It has like a little bit of a cooldown time. You can only use it so many seconds. You can't swing it. You got to have a little bit of cooldown when you swing the sword. So this other object, that sundial rest watch, tells you when the sword is ready. So we're going to use an if-else statement. If it's true, then do this. If it's false, do something else. So first thing we're going to do is check, is this ready? And ready, that's that ready, and we type in literally cleave, because that's what they have then. And then we say cleave the enemy. Else, if it isn't, do your normal attack. So if cleave is ready, cleave, else attack. So this dot cleave enemy, else this attack the enemy. All right. Now just add the setup and find your enemies and stick the whole thing in a loop, and you're ready to go. All right, we've got a question here. Good. Then Garen, just let me know that you're on the question, and I'm showing you where we are on 10, so that way we can get through this. All right, Nicholas, when you have this. Charlie, when you have 10, raise your hand, please. Excellent. All right, so Charlie and Nicholas set to go. Nico and Charlie set to go. Nicholas got a question, let me know. Then we'll go on to the next one. All right, I'm going to go ahead, actually here, explain the next ones, and we'll come back to those in a little bit, all right? I'm going to do a couple, so people that go faster can go faster. Can I get everybody's attention? I need everybody to stop programming, listening to a few minutes, and then we'll do several of these in a row. Then you can come back here. All right? So I got a couple of you still working. Give it a break. Give your CodeCombat a minute here and watch what I'm going to show you, please. All right, so there we go. You can see top scores on this. That's something to look up. Now, Shield Rush, guess what? You get a shield. You know, same one, but instead of cleave, you shield. So when you don't have your cleave, you can't do your cleave, you shield, so you're not killed, right? So that should give you an idea. Think of the last one, but instead of attacking, you're putting up your shield. So again, if this is ready, cleave, this cleave the enemy, else this shield. And you need to figure out, is there an enemy? And so you're checking all the time. And if that's the case, if you're checking all the time, you're probably looping things. So, find the nearest enemy. That's enemy, right? Var, enemy, this is the nearest enemy. If this is ready, cleave. If it's ready, cleave the enemy. If it isn't ready, use your shield. So it's looking to say, hey, the cleave is ready, nail the enemy, otherwise use your shield. All right? If there's no enemy to cleave, it's not going to do anything. And so you cleave them, you whack them all out. So that's a cleave. And again, you can play with the shield rushes there. The next one, and then I'll stop. I'll give you some time to work on this. The next one to take to the next level is then, hey, find the nearest enemy, find the nearest item, and distances. So in this one, you've got to figure out, looking at the knight, you have to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? Let me put his hands down. Thank you. What do I need to do to protect this guy from her right there? And so this gets to be, let me pull this over for you. So you're going to need two variables here. Now we're going to two variables and starting to get a little more complicated. Variable enemy, this find the nearest enemy. So this is going out, find the nearest enemy and assigning to enemy. This is finding the distance to said enemy and setting that to a variable. This gives us an idea how far they are. This allows us to set up an if-else statements that have our heroes act when an enemy gets too close. So you can do something like this. Find out where your enemy is, then find out the distance to the enemy, and if the distance to the enemy is less than 10 or less than 5, whatever your value is, go after them. Got a quick question. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Mine was going slow at times on mine, Charlie. Sorry. I was having a heck of a time on it sometimes. I'm not sure why, but it does that. Okay. If the distance in this case is less than 10, attack the enemy. Else, move over next to the peasant. So remember on these things, a couple things you need to think about, everybody. Let's think about how we would do this. In an ideal world, we'd take a sheet of paper out, and maybe that's what we should start doing. And think about, if I'm going to protect the peasant there, and I'm going to have enemies, and I don't know which way they're going to come from, I need to, one, figure out if there's an enemy. Then I have to figure out how close they are, and at what point do I attack them? Because what happens if another enemy's coming closer? I want to kill the closest enemy. And then after I kill them, I want to go back to that peasant. So you take programming as taking an idea and breaking it down into these pieces. Okay? And so find the nearest enemy, the distance, and there they are. This allows set up FL statements that have our arrows act when an enemy gets too close. All right. This dot attack enemy, else move to where the peasant is, 4037. And so that's where you get this peasant protection. And we're going to just leave it at that. And this really should be showing victory I wanted when I was doing it. So let's go to there. We're going to wait for the Agrippa Defense here in a little bit, because this has got several nested, all right, loops inside of it. So once you have this, please raise your hand once you're up to peasant protection. I'm going to go ahead and pause things now a little bit, because you need some time to work on this. Okay, so you guys knocked that one down. Excellent. Let's go on to the next part of this. You're going to need several nested statements, which can get to be very powerful, but can get a little bit on the confusing side. Once the enemy present, you got to know, is it close enough to attack? And then you got to see if you're going to be able to cleave it or attack. So it's a decision tree. Are there any enemy around? And you do this in real life. Are there any enemy around? Oh, there is. Was it close enough for us to attack? And if I can't attack them, can I cleave them? So, if distance is less than 5, so is there an enemy? If so, is the distance less than 5? Is cleave ready or get it? Now you're going to need the curly brackets on this bad boy. I call them the containers. See how there's one for if up here, there's one down here. You've got one here. You need, one here, if, and then you got another if inside here. So you work your way out. So this one and this one for this if statement. This one, you actually even need, I think, an else. There's one, there's one. Actually, I think your brackets are a little bit different. I would probably redo this a little bit differently. In other words, I'd have if, I have a bracket here, I'd have an inside bracket right underneath that if to tell me that, and then I'd have this bracket with this bracket, then else. Well, I guess they put this if in the whole final thing right here. My bad. There's the second if there. Okay. All right. Now, can you spot the error with this one? So you're going to fill this all in. Is there any question on what we're trying to do here? You're saying, is there an enemy? Is it less than 5 feet? Is it ready? Can I cleave it? Else, I can't cleave it, then attack. If less than 550, else don't attack it. You don't want to attack it. So, variable, this find nearest enemy equals this distance to enemy, semicolon. Can you spot the error? All right. Well, the distance to method needs to be after the statement that checks if the enemy is present, right? So enemy, this finds nearest enemy, parentheses. Then have if enemy is true. Because what happens when there's no enemy here? This would give you a 0 value, right? This, if there was no enemy, then when it tries to find a distance to no enemy, that's a problem, isn't it? Let me say again, this is finding nearest enemy. What happens if there's an enemy there? No problem. You can go to this next line of code. But the problem is most of the time there is no enemy there. So that's why we do it more like this. Variable enemy, find the nearest enemy. If there's an enemy, if it's true, if there's a value, now check to see if there's distance. All right? So, see if you can take a look at this a little bit, see if you can do it. I'll leave this up to kind of give you a hand with all these if-then statements if you want. Raise your hand once you think you have it. Okay, raise your hands once you get it. I'm going to again pause everybody, so there's no sense in just watch, listen to still tape. All right. You know, the goal is very similar to last. Can you set up the nested statements? Again, check to see if you have, first thing, is there a nearby enemy? If it's less than 10 meters, cleave it. Otherwise, attack the chest. So you're going to see a lot of logic we just did in the last one. All right, hide the results. Nice job, Mr. D. There we go. Can you see it now? Guys, can you see the code, not the results? All right, good. Next saying you can see it. All right. All right, if you can see it, okay. So, again, check the distance. First, I would argue, check to see if there's an enemy. Then check to see the nearest enemy. If it comes closer than 10 meters, cleave it. Else, attack the chest by name. All right. Go ahead. Let's go on that. So that's Munchkin Swarm. Let me explain the next one so we can go through this. You guys can come back in a minute. I think you can see that one. Now, cornucopia. Now we're starting to do real-time inputs. Find flags, pick up flags. So this causes your game to happen in real time, as opposed to design time. All right. Returns the flag of the given color if it exists. Find the flag color. If color is unspecified, returns one of the flags regardless of color. The 3 color flags are green, black, and violet, so you can kind of see this. So if you have a variable called flag, find flag. If flag, so if it finds a flag, so it's true, then if the color is black, build a fire trap at this position or Y. Then pick up another flag. If it, when it gets done with that. if it's flag. All right, and then that's find flag. And then pick up flag is, hey, variable green flag, find flag that's a green one. If it's a green flag, pick up the green flag. Okay, so that's giving you the kind of breakdown of what these methods are. So here we go. All right, so here's a loop. Got a variable called flag. Find flag. True, I found it. Then pick up flag. Else. Say, place a flag for me to go to. So what this is basically doing is getting your person to say that, so in the game the person would put a flag down. Take a minute to look at this code. And then all you do in this one is you're just placing a flag down so you can see how it works. So again, whenever you're the person, and if you don't, it's going to say, what will it say if it doesn't, if there's no flag placed? Well, it's going to say, place a flag for me to go. If it finds it's true, there's a flag, it's going to go, and you're going to, if flag is true, if this is true, pick up the flag. So you're going to go run around and pick it up. Okay? Okay. Copper meadows. Here we go. Collect all the coins in each meadow. Use flags to move between the meadows. Please submit when you're ready to place flags. So you're going to be dropping flags in and out to get it to go. And that's why we're going to use that method, this pick up flag method. All right. So first things first, find out if there's a flag. If it's true, all right, you're going to do something, pick up the flag. Else, move to the nearest item you see, right? If there is an item there, so it makes that true, get the position of the item, and then you're going to go to X and Y and move to the X and Y. So this is going to get you folks to move where different things are. You're going to get the guy to move by dragging the flag around different places, and then it's going to pick up items. All right. And then you're going to guide your hero. So why don't, in this one, go ahead and look at my code as you get it, because this is a little involved. I'll grant you that. I'm going to pause this, pause the recording. So hopefully you see what's happening here. You're going to move the flag. Guy's going to run around. If there's no flag, he's going to look for items, and he's going to pick them up by going to those spots. You know, this is, and then we're going to add, you know, this find the flag. If flag, go pick up the flag, so that way it gets else. Automatically move to the nearest item you see. And that's what we've got going. Find the flag and pick up the flag. And then you can use your flag to guide around there. All right. Let me show you the next one here. Or raise your hand when you have this working. Raise your hand when you've got this working. Good job, Nico. All right. Let me go on and drop the flag just so you can see this real quick, folks. And then we'll give you time to work on this. You're going to pick up, you're going to get a hammer now. And, well, you're picking up your hammer because you're not cutting anything up, I should say. You're just equipping with your hammer. All right? You know, it's crude hammer. And when you're not building traps, pick up coins. Put flags where you want to build traps so that way you can do it. Which is kind of, you start making a game other people can play because now they can start dropping down flags where you want to build traps. All right? You start to get a sense of what they have to do with the logic when they do those games. Okay. All right, so look at this. This, find a flag. If there's a flag, how do you get F and X from the flag's position? Look below it, how to get an X and Y from these items. You know, what would you need to do that? And I would say look at here to get a sense of how you would get the position. Only it would be not item, it would be from the flag, wouldn't it? And this is saying, hey, if I can't find a flag, go pick up items, doesn't it? All right, and the arrow, whenever there's not a flag, is picking up the coins. Hope that makes sense for everybody. And there's the flag's position, variable flag position, fx flag position. We haven't done this. We had you got the flag position .x.y, but that tells you where it is, and then tells you where to build it back up. All right. So I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to give you some more time to work on these, since I don't really want to get too much farther and explain too many lessons ahead. But you can tell this is definitely getting more and more challenging. You need this bit of code right after find flag, if flag, to get this to work right here. All right. Now, drop the flag. You're going to have to use your longsword again. Time to get it out. And you're going to need, you've gotten a bunch of silver and stuff. You can go to the store and get some new armor. All right. Now you're going to have to look, find flag, find nearest enemy, find nearest item. What happens when I find a flag enemy? What happens when I find an enemy? And what happens if I find an item? This allows you, depending on what your hero runs into, right? First of all, identify a flag. Is there an enemy? I don't want to be picking up items if I got an enemy there hacking on me. So that would be the first thing. And this is a lot of logic that you'll see whenever you've got a combat character going on. Right? So and then the next thing is, if there's a flag, pick it up. If there's no flag but an enemy, cleave it if possible. If not, attack. Because you don't have it, you can't cleave, then just do attack. If no flag and no enemy, but there's an item, go to that XY location of the item and pick it up. So go ahead with those items, see if you can get this done. Let's use the last 6 minutes, see if we can get it done. Last 3 minutes, I'll put the code up so you can see it. If you get it, raise your hand. Let me see how well you are figuring this all out. Wow. You guys are jumping on it. Impressive. I'm serious. All right. Nick is on it. Good job, Nicholas. Nico nailed it right off the bat. So well done, folks. All right, with a few minutes here, let me go ahead. I'm going to show you the code of this. So, if a flag, first decision, if a flag, if there is, that's true, pick it up. Else, if there's an enemy, is cleave ready, then cleave the enemy. Else, attack the enemy. But say you didn't pick up, if there's no flag, there's no enemy, then look for an item. If there's an item, get the item's position, store it as item position, item dot pause, and then X and Y, item position X, and position Y, move to X and Y. All right. So there's probably not, I'm not sure we're going to go ahead. We're going to hold off going on to 18 till Wednesday. And it'd be great if you could spend some time on it between now and Wednesday. Also great, if you haven't already given me now, get those checkers into me. And we're going to be printing them, so next time you come, we can cast them. All right? Any questions, anybody? I'm going to put everybody's hands down, make sure it's not a question. All right, then. I'm going to leave this up. If you've gotten it all the way through 17 and you're done, you can go, and I'll leave it up for those people who aren't done yet. All right? So you all have a great evening. Weather's supposed to be nice. Enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and pause this.